Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of Frail Conversations. And today, as you've seen from the title, we're going to be talking about corny dudes. Now, this is going to be a different conversation because I know it seems like, this is clickbaity. The reason why I called it corny dudes because, I make motherfuckers listen. But the original title of this was going to be Cornflakes Guy, right? The Cornflakes Guy. But I was like, nah, if I talk about the Cornflakes Guy, what does that have to do with masculinity? So I got to, use my skills to lure y'all motherfuckers in. But anywho, the corny dudes, right? We got to realize why I'm using that, right? So the reason why I'm saying this is because in studying and learning, you've heard the episode about the education system, right? I ain't really going down a rabbit hole or the route of the healthcare system, but this is tied to the nutritional side of the healthcare system, right? When I was going over the little nigga that did the motherfucking education system, Rockefeller and shit. But then I started looking at all of these motherfuckers at the time. So I've been studying Rockefellers, the JP Morgans, and all of the shit. But one motherfucker that gets swept under the rug that a lot of motherfuckers don't pay attention to in the early 1900s was motherfucking Dr. Kellogg. Now, what his first name is, I don't fucking know. I didn't look that deep into the shit. I didn't look to find his name. But I seen enough of what he stood for to give me a reality of, nigga, you really did that to us. That's what the fuck you was gonna do. We talk about Margaret Sanger, right, with the eugenics and all of that other shit. But before all of that, before all of them motherfuckers came in, the coldest motherfucker to hit the motherfucking United States and shit was Dr. Kellogg. Now, Dr. Kellogg, as you know, before the changing of the times, we know that in the early 1900s, that's when we changed from a holistic dynamic or naturopathic doctor system to more of the homeopathic. But it's like, how did we start with the homeopathic side, right? And how does this relate to so real conversations? Because Dr. Kellogg had a theory, right? He had a fucking theory. And his theory was that male aggression, male, what we call masculinity, the toxic masculinity, it's been a conversation for the last 100 years. We be thinking that, oh, masculine, feminine. Nah, these niggas, we been having this conversation since the early 1900s. But the early 1900s was the most pivotal piece. The Kellogg guy, Mr. Dr. Kellogg, he stated that testosterone, he said he basically stood on the platform that he wanted to reduce the levels, the potential of male aggression, right? He said male aggression was due to toxic, masculinity, whatever case may be, but it was due largely to testosterone. This raises two different questions for me. Because on one side, you have to ask yourself, if this were fast forward to today, Dr. Kellogg would be in what community, right? So I'm asking, when he comes and says, we need to reduce the testosterone levels of men. Now, mind you, this is the 1900s. We broke this down in the previous episode about the three cycles, or three generations, right? So they're like, in the last three generations, testosterone levels have completely been obsolete. What's happening? Men ain't going to the gym. Men ain't doing this. It's deeper than that. We're eating food that is making our testosterone levels low. So I have an actual episode on testosterone, but I found out about this information all after the fact. But these two go together. So if you ever heard the episode on Real Conversations, testosterone, this right here would be like a part two to that. But we're largely going to be focused on the Kellogg guy, right? So the thing with the Kellogg motherfucker, right, is that in him uttering the words, I feel, this is what he said, I feel that testosterone is going to create overly aggressive males. Makes sense. Makes sense why you would feel that way, right? Rather than saying, okay, with their testosterone levels, let's structure how to use the testosterone. No, we think that testosterone is what makes men overly aggressive. So Dr. Kellogg created something, a food. This is what it was. He created a food that would reduce the testosterone levels. And you know what the fuck this food was? Cornflakes. Hence for the title, Corny Dudes. You'd be surprised how many layers there are to corny motherfuckers. But when I looked at that shit and I was like, bruh, then I looked at the cereals that are listed under the Kellogg brand. Then I considered the competition of the brand of the different types of cereals. And I say, wow, they've been kicking our ass at breakfast. So it's like, wow, if I can maneuver this before they hit puberty, I already got them. So we're wondering what's in the food that's making us like this. We talk about the atrazine that is in cereals. The atrazine that is in cereal that changes that has been shown to change the genetics of a frog. It can change not the genetics, it can change the gender of a frog from a male to a female. It changes that. That's atrazine. Atrazine is in Fruity Pebbles. Is in a lot of the fruits that have the cereals that have red. Now, Fruity Pebbles is not Kellogg. It is Post. It is different. Doesn't matter the brand. We got to look at the inception of what this is before the competition starts. Okay? Just like we're looking at the bank systems. Just like looking at the pharmaceutical companies and all of this shit. Like, look who was deciding, okay, well, this is who we're going to fuck with. And then now everybody else is subsidiary and you don't really count and we want to take you out, we will. But the purpose of that was he said, I'm going to create something that is going to reduce the testosterone in men. Here we are in 2023, and our testosterone levels are the lowest they've ever been in history. And now we know why. But before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_seen_. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of the podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. And you know the vibes. Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And as always, that's that for this and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into So Frail Conversations. Corny dudes. And don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right. Welcome back. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump down this motherfucking rabbit hole. So, the Kellogg's guy, right? He decides, I need to create something that reduces the testosterone so men won't be overly aggressive. Now, it completely backfired when you really think about it, because in 2023, testosterone levels are the lowest they've ever been in history, but men are just totally different now. You feel me? They become zesty, they become whatever, but the testosterone levels are the lowest and men are now overly aggressive. Something's not right. Either the experiment went wrong or it went as it was supposed to. You feel me? And in reducing the testosterone levels of the man, he never reduced the reality of what was already being programmed into creating the violent man. It had nothing to do with the food, it had everything to do with the environment. The food just reduced the testosterone. So now he's using his estrogen as his violent medium. And when he's using his estrogen as his violent medium, he becomes the catty argumentative motherfucker. He becomes the zesty motherfucker. He becomes like a woman, just with a deeper voice, or more baritone in the voice. But it runs deeper than that. It runs deeper than that. Because he affects the puberty. The cornflakes, the food, it affects the puberty. Which means that the levels of testosterone that are supposed to be released, the levels that are supposed to be regulated and normalized when a man crosses into his pubescent stage, are completely reduced. What does this affect? Testosterone depleted testosterone levels affect muscle mass, muscle density, the base of the voice, masculinity as a whole, but it mainly affects the muscle mass and the size of the person. You can't take away their viciousness. If a person is violent, they're going to be violent. But now I reduce the capacity for them to use their body violently. It made me wonder, like, I was wondering, like, yo, Like my generation, we started to see it, but now it's like most of these younger generation kids born in like all of the males are small, like they real tiny. Like you feel me? My generation, my time, it was a mixture of us. Some of us were tiny, some of us hit the gym or whatever, got bigger, whatever. Some of us were already naturally big, but it was largely because our testosterone levels were depleted. Didn't catch that shit, but we didn't even know where they were being depleted from. Right. So when puberty actually hits, when we 13 years old, we've already been eating the shit ahead of time. So like I said, he creates cornflakes. He had a big bird on the motherfucker, which is so many different symbolisms in the shit. Now that you think about it, what was the spokesperson? What was the representation for the Kellogg's cornflakes? A fucking rooster. What's another name for a rooster? A cock. They put a cock on the front of the box, and this is cereal that reduces testosterone. Our testosterone, we know, is largely secreted from our sexual organs, right? Particularly around the prostate gland is what is responsible for secreting our testosterone levels. Now, here's where it raises other issues because now, if our testosterone levels are being affected, which means that in order for the testosterone to be reduced, what has to happen is the cornflakes has to be affecting the prostate to make it not function properly. Fast forward, by 55, you want to get your prostate checked. How do you know, my guy, that the prostate is going to be fucked up in 55 years? Unless you know from the first start of the system that you're implementing that this is how we're going to deplete the levels. Because we know that in order for us to deplete the levels, which means we have to do something to the prostate in order for it to stop functioning. This ties into the education system because these are the things I think about. Like, you know, now I'm why do you because you don't think about this in school because you're not taught to. You're not taught to actually process information that you're being faced with. So let's add up all the factors. You add, you twist it. Nah, let me stop. But for real, let's add up all the factors. The cornflakes were created so the motherfucker could reduce testosterone levels. The cover of the cornflakes box is a rooster. We'll call it a rooster because I don't want to keep pause. But think about the cornflakes, right? If you like me, when you ate cornflakes, you put sugar on them. You know, cornflakes ain't no cornflakes brand, raisin brand, they all the same shit. Raisin brand is the cornflakes with raisins in the motherfucker. It's a little bit sweet. All in all, it is what it is. But they created the cornflakes. In creating the cornflakes, they also now created the the idea of breakfast, right? Motherfuckers only ate big breakfast because they went to go do big work right after that early in the morning. We ain't doing that shit no more. So why the fuck are we still eating that shit? You feel what I'm saying? But I digress. It is what it is. When we look at where our breakfast goes, what do we eat for breakfast? They created the convenience. Now nobody has the luxury of cooking and everything. Some kids, oh, I don't want this. So we're gonna give the kids cereal. You know, of course, adults. Now, here's where it's dope. It's not dope, but here's where it's dope. The adults eat the mature cereal. Oh my man, I gotta eat cornflakes. My child ain't gonna eat no fucking cornflakes, but I'm gonna eat these cornflakes and I'm gonna start the process of they're already reducing my testosterone levels. Testosterone and estrogen are two hormones that are very, very necessary when it comes to childbirth and child creation. Don't nobody want to talk about that shit, right? Don't nobody want to talk about that shit. So when our testosterone levels are being depleted and they're being reduced, that's going to affect how viable we are in having children. Now, when we fast forward years later and they say, this is why you want to have a child within your early 20s, because we already fucked you up. And after that, your sperm ain't gonna work no more. It ain't gonna work that good when you in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. Your dick ain't gonna work. Nothing's gonna work because we shutting your prostate down. Yeah, the cornflakes are designed to break that down, but at the end of the day, and now it's like, well, seeing I didn't eat cornflakes. I don't. It's Kellogg, motherfucker. His intention for creating cornflakes created the cereal brands. They're all the same cereals, which is not real food, which have to be approved by the FDA, Food and Drug Administration. We put food and drugs together for now now you can administer it. Now when we understand what a drug is, if we understand pharmacology, a drug is anything that elicits a response within the body. You feel what I'm saying? Drugs don't necessarily have to be narcotics. They don't have to be illegal. Drugs are food because they elicit a response within your body. And a specific food that we're dealing with today is cornflakes. It's cornflakes. When I look at where we are today, most of us, mind, I know I grew up on cereal. Me and my brother used to look and read the back of the cereal boxes. Like that's like the cereal boxes used to have shit on the back of them. Used to have shit that was entertaining, right? But then it's like eventually it got to the point where nobody remembered or nobody even knew to pay attention to the origin of cereal, right? Now, when we look at cereals, and now we're like, oh, why do the kids? Most kids that are hyperactive, they succumb to eating foods continually that have red 40 in them, diet red 40. Where do you get most? Where's your diet? Oh, my kid is eating Skittles. Oh, they're eating stop eating all this candy. It's not the candy, it's the cereal. Imagine simultaneously getting something that reduces your testosterone while you're getting something while you're violating your lactose intolerant setup in your body. You're drinking milk, and most people are lactose, and you're eating cereal with the shit. Your body is completely in a state of I don't even know what the fuck it's in. But when it breaks down this motherfucking cornflakes, this corn is gonna break down into reducing your testosterone levels. Our testosterone levels help us navigate with fight or flight response. Very important, especially in a world where you're stuck in your fight or flight response. Why would you want to remove testosterone knowing that you're going to put people in a fight or flight response? Because I don't want them to fight. I want them to flee. Why aren't men protecting women? Cornflakes, nigga. Fucking cornflakes. Testosterone gives me a certain energy to make me that warrior, make me that fire, give me that fire. Testosterone is my fire, just like estrogen is the fire of a woman. Estrogen triggers her emotions. Now, if she's not in tune with her emotions, she'll succumb to them and fall victim to them. Just like if a man is not in tune with his thoughts, he'll succumb to them and fall emotion. That testosterone level is very, very important. I'm gonna talk about ways to get your testosterone right at the end. You feel me? And just like I listed in the testosterone level, but I mean episode, but these two things go hand in hand. They coincide with each other. Like I said, most of us, if we're latchkey kids, we can't cook. You feel me? So imagine, let's take it all the way fucking back, right? Just look at this generation. I don't even give a fuck. We're not even gonna look at the 1900s this time. We'll address that, but let's look at this, right? Look at our generation. I'm 33, right? I was born in 1990. So let's look at late 80s, early 90s babies. Y'all remember when I be saying the late 80s, early 90s babies were supposed to change the world? They are the ones who are called the millennials. They are the ones who are supposed to usher in the Aquarian age. They sedated the fuck out of us on every level. They said these motherfuckers will not break what we have. So we know who's designed to do the shit. We know who's supposed to. We're gonna make sure they can't. We think it's just the vaccines and shit. Nah, it was the food. It was the food. You feel what I'm saying? What was our breakfast like in school? Think about it. When you went to school, you went and you had breakfast. You feel me? Tying it back in, I mentioned the 3 square meals a day. We're not even supposed to have 3 square meals a day. We're not. The food guy pyramid said it. You feel me? We only supposed to eat when we hungry. But they make us eat 3 times so they can start to develop the addiction of the shit that we're putting in, that they putting in the foods. We addicted a long time ago. That kindergarten, whatever. When you go eat breakfast in school, a lot of us were eating breakfast in school starting in the first grade kindergarten. You eat your breakfast, you go to class, you feel me? So you can get through the first 4 hours a day. Then you eat your breakfast, then you eat your lunch, then you go to class. Now look, think about what we're eating for breakfast. Most of us are eating either sausage biscuits or some shit like that. But if we don't want a hot meal or whatever, we getting cereal and milk. They made that shit so convenient. They made that shit so fucking convenient. Now, as a child, I don't have to wait for mommy and daddy to get up to make me no fucking cereal. And I can eat as much cereal as I want. Why? Because I'm feeding myself and I'm not. But the core of that is what's happening to me as a person with what this is. Dr. Kellogg, that was a cold motherfucker, bruh. And nobody can see what he does. Oh, he's a Kellogg's corn. You gonna go still buy your motherfucking cornflakes, your raisin bran, all of that shit, Fruit Loops. He runs that. He runs that brand. But then when you look at your other brands, your poster shit is all templated off of what he did. One thing about America, they always try to avoid monopolies, but they never change. To avoid a monopoly, what they do is create brands and brand entities. You feel me? Like Kellogg, yeah, You can't run cereal, bro. So let's make some other cereals, but we're gonna follow the same template you already set up. They do the same shit with the media. You feel me? There's literally only like 3 or 4 channels. When you 3 or 4 networks and they all give you channels, that's what it really boils down to. Viacom, what do you have? Like, what is it? Viacom, motherfucker, what is it? Fox, motherfucker, or is Fox under Viacom? You see what I'm saying? Either way, it's like they own one thing, then they create the subsidiary. So you don't know a monopoly is being placed on you. You're not looking at everything else. You're seeing your available options and thinking you're making choices. I talk about this in So Frail 3. I talk about this in So Frail 3, and it comes all full circle because now we understand how they have been targeting us and affecting our testosterone levels. You feel me? The last deep voice artist I've ever heard and remembered listening to was Barry White. I have not heard anybody, any black man's voice, period, let alone a man, but black men, we have the deepest voices, period. There's not a, you feel me? But I have not heard a black man with a voice deeper than Barry White since Barry White. Even myself, when I, like, my voice is not as deep as it should be or it could be. You feel what I'm saying? And it was like, why we got those high pitched voices? Because our testosterone levels were depleted a long time ago when we was kids, bro. Before puberty, our testosterone levels were hit. If puberty happens for us between 11 and 13 years old, and we've been eating cereal since we had teeth, fuck the cornflakes. You don't have to eat cornflakes. If you didn't grow up on cornflakes, fuck it. You ate Fruit Loops, right? Fruit Loops is an extension of Kellogg's. You feel me? I want to say Post is Fruity Pebbles or whatever the case may be, but whatever it is, the template is the same. Go to the ingredients of what's in them shits, and it's all shit you can't pronounce, but it's all Latin shit. Goes back to the listening episode that I was talking about. They don't care if you can read it or not. Yes, hear it, know these words, but you can't listen to me. You read in the back of the cereal box, you don't know what the fuck is on it. I mean, the nutritional facts. You feel me? Motherfuckers just realized that high fructose corn syrup was a problem in the, like, what, 10 years ago? I seen the commercials for it. When did they start putting high fructose corn syrup and shit? Another interesting point. High fructose corn syrup. Fuck the corn. I mean, fuck the syrup, fuck the fructose, and fuck the high. It's the corn. Corn syrup, corn flakes, it is the corn. Now, this is not necessarily saying corn. You can't eat corn. Well, saying, you mean I can't eat corn no more? What are you saying? Corn is this? The corn you know it now ain't corn. Corn ain't yellow. Well, yes, it is. Let me stop saying it. Corn is yellow. Maize is not yellow. The original name of what they call corn, when they came over here and met motherfuckers, they were calling it maize. They said maize. This is where you get the word maize from because it was spelled M-A-I-Z. It was maize, but it was how they said corn. But when they said maize, that's where you get the cornfields making the mazes and people started making. That's where all of that shit comes from. But the actual terminology of the word was maize, and it was purple. Corn was purple. How did it get yellow? That means if now when you look at genetically, corn being purple, it also has yellow as a recessive function. A recessive function, right? So if you ever look at like the corn that has mixed colors in it, it might be predominantly purple, but it has a few yellow ones in there. That is what it is to genetically to be dominant, but still have heterozygous dominant. You still have the recessive gene in you, but you're dominated by this. They grafted out all of the dominant genes. That's how we have yellow corn now. Corn is not yellow. They happen to graft out. Now, with what they grafted out, you feel what I'm saying? They now enhanced that and created the cereal. You feel me? Cornflakes is made of a grain, but you feel what I'm saying? But don't get me wrong. However, it is tied to corn, right? But it's tied to the faculty in corn that reduces the testosterone. You dig what I'm saying? When we consider how the food, just the cereal, was already crafted to reduce the testosterone, and we look at how most of the cereals have high fructose corn syrup in them, and then we consider where we are today's testosterone wise, something ain't right. So now when they say why the men are soft and why the men like they made us this way. This wasn't a like when they're saying people are born certain they are, but you're not born naturally like that. You're born nurturally. Hmm. You're born nurturally like that. Because all of the foods that your parents ate, we already programmed to make sure you don't come out with everything you need to make you function the way the universe needed you to function. We're going to make you function the way we need you to function. And we do not need men that have testosterone levels because those men think and change the world. People think testosterone just makes you aggressive. No, testosterone enhances your masculinity, just like estrogen enhances your femininity. But when you don't understand what masculinity is, you cannot use the right enhancement of your testosterone. The same efficacy that gives you the ambition and the drive to go and be the star athlete, you don't become the star athlete just physically. You have to have a mindset behind that shit, and it's that testosterone that pushes you through it to learn the game. You ever seen how an athlete break? Like we be looking at athletes and just thinking that they could just play the sport, but Kobe is one of the people that I watch the most. Kobe studies the game. Like Kobe's analysis of the game is so on point. It's weird. It's like Kobe knows every member that he knew every person's attributes, their strengths, their weaknesses, of who he was gonna play, why he knew all of that shit. Analysis and deconstruction. LeBron, another motherfucker. They say, when you look at sports athletes, especially point guards and shit, and different, they're like, yo, your IQ is this or this, that, and the third, because they channel your testosterone to be used. It's always going to enhance your mind to focus you to learn, but they only want you to use it to fight. Because we're naturally going to put you in a fight or flight response. We're going to create a world that makes you always have to survive. This is why we set the template that the goal of education is to get a good job. You starting off the curve knowing that, hey, I just got to survive in life. I just seen this quote and it said the difference between rich people, wealthy people, the wealthy, the middle class, and the poor people is not the actual. It's what they think they're supposed to do with money. And he was saying that wealthy people think they're supposed to use money to make more money. You feel what I'm saying? Middle class people think they're supposed to make money to obtain good credit. Poor people think they're supposed to make money to pay bills. That's it. That opens up a whole world of different possibilities because when you just believe that you're just supposed to pay bills, you're just in a space of I just need to survive. So you already shifted into a fight or flight response by default because I have to secure my livelihood so I can pay these bills, nothing else. That means you are foundationally on the root chakra at the basic level of your life. Fight or flight response. That's it. That's the only response that you're gonna stay in. Now, as a man, I'm reducing your testosterone levels to I'm reducing the fuel that you need when you're in fight or flight response. So you don't know what to fight for, you don't know how to fight, you don't know the dynamics of fight because your testosterone fuels your ambition to be able to figure these things out. But I'm going to reduce that. And it makes sense because now, 100 years before the Aquarian age, if we completely stop it, we don't have to worry about masculinity coming back to do what it needs to do in this world. Granted, they ain't count on a motherfucker like me just cracking through the cracks, but I'm still the anomaly. I'm still the anomaly, you know what I'm saying? To bring masculinity back, and it's the first time it's here in however many decades, centuries, or whatever the case may be, that's telling you how long this system has been working. Even when the masculinity does show up, they demonize it. It's crazy because when we look at the civil rights movement, when we look at all of our leaders, when we look at they were all masculine men that had excessive testosterone, but they labeled them as violent. Huey Newton, Malcolm X, Bobby Seale, um, everybody who thought and used their testosterone as a mode to think and solve a problem. Now we got to take you out. I don't understand how the Black Panther Party could be labeled as a terrorist organization when their motto was all power to the people. Black power came as an extension of something else, but the Black Panthers were uttering the words, all power to the people. They said, break this fucking system. And they worked towards breaking the system. And that's what the problem was. When I wrote at the end of So Frail 3 in Noirphobia, where I talked about how J. Edgar Hoover says, we fear the rise of a Black Messiah. Do you get it? Do you get it? They already knew the Black Messiah was coming because the Messiah wasn't a person. It was a level of energy that had no choice but to restore itself in the Aquarian age. But if we reduce the testosterone levels, it'll never show itself. Because the fuel, which is testosterone, of masculinity, the analysis and deconstruction, the spiritual, mental, and physical, we ain't worried about that shit. We're gonna give them a religion, we're gonna give them all, and we're gonna make sure that they can't wake up. And then we're gonna feed them the right foods to reduce their testosterone levels. So when women say, I'm tired of being a mom, you're not in your masculine, baby. You're not. You're not in your masculine at all. You're in maternal energy. That's all that is. And my brothers would be thinking, because they reduce our testosterone levels and then tell us boys will be boys. We don't even think like men. We think like boys. That's why everything is sex driven. Because now I'm going to really make sure you deplete your testosterone levels. Not only am I going to give you the cornflakes and the cereal, I'm going to make you addicted to porn. Yep. And if you're not addicted to porn, I'm going to make you a hoe and make you feel like you're supposed to be fucking everything. So now, not only has my prostate already been affected through the cornflakes and the cereal, my prostate is affected to not secrete the testosterone levels. What testosterone levels I do have, I'm depleting it with every orgasm. How powerful is this? It takes 10 years off of the life of a man. Life expectancy is like 88. Men, they say statistically, men live statistically 10 years longer than women. We know now that statistics are the explanation of the efficacy of a system. Statistically speaking, men are going to live 10 years less than women. That is a problem. Because that means there is an effective system that takes 10 years off of men's life that doesn't take 10 years off of women's life. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. And it starts with fucking cereal, bro. Sis, if you listening, because this is So Frail Conversations. This shit takes 10 years off of your life. So now we ask, well, how powerful is prostate health then? And how powerful can testosterone be if the depletion of it? Testosterone is that powerful that depleting ourselves of it takes 10 years of our lives. So yeah, they can talk about, oh, we're overly aggressive, we just that, and the third. If we had our testosterone, logically speaking, we should live 10 years longer if our testosterone levels are what they're supposed to be. But they're not. Why? Because it's a threat. When you're in a world that's systemic, you're in a world based off systems. Only thing that could break a system is not entrepreneurship, is masculinity. I was thinking about entrepreneurship because all of these people were entrepreneurs and just said, we gonna control this shit. This is a doctor, y'all. This is Dr. Kellogg. This all this shit starts with him because he says, I need to reduce testosterone levels because the men are going to be too aggressive. That's not what it is. You can't conform to authority. Like, if the authority has no intelligence behind the design, you can't conform to it. Which means when you're in your fight or flight response, you're going to choose the fight if the fight is in you. The fight being in you is a reflection of your testosterone levels. Simple. Simple. It seems so much harder, so much complex when you really put, you know what I'm saying, you try to put it on paper and shit like that, but it ain't. It ain't. It ain't at all. It's all in the cereal that we in. Cause it's all made for the same shit. Fast forward to where we are today. Like I said, latchkey kids, both parents, like look at they created this entire reality to happen this way. Let me create a world where the parents can't even raise their kids. Now, because they can't raise their kids, they're going to try to make their kids a little bit more responsible. All right, eat your cereal. I made your cereal first thing in the morning. Put some strawberries and shit in it and bananas. Put a little bit of sugar. You feel me? Put a little bit of sugar in the shit. And the shit's depleting you of all your testosterone. Even if you practice semen retention, it wouldn't work. It would. There's nothing that semen retention can actually like. Not even that. Hold on. Semen retention does work. For anybody who's ever tried semen retention, if you listen to this, if the longer you've gone without a nut, you ever realize how much clearer you are, how much more focused you are, how much more disciplined you are, how clearer your thoughts are, how clearer your face looks, how entire, how much energized your body looks. And they said testosterone makes you overly aggressive. Interesting. Interesting, because to everybody I know who has practiced semen retention, they have created things phenomenally using the testosterone that is now being sustained more in their body because they're keeping their orgasms rather than releasing them. So Frail, mastering the market, hitting it raw. Everything that I've created was largely out of semen retention, right? In addition to that, my testosterone levels are increasing because of what I'm putting in my body, which ties into my next point. When we consider in real time that everything for one that has been depleted in us and how we're supposed to be getting our nutrition, what is one thing that the nutrition guide lacks? One thing that something that I, one thing that it teaches is not to put oils in our bodies, only on our skin or whatever the case may be, but not to eat oils, not to take in oils, right? If you are familiar with hitting it raw and you read the book or whatever, you know there's 7 things that your body needs, right? Water, vitamins, minerals, lipids, carbohydrates, nucleic acids, and what I say, protein. So protein, lipids, nucleic acids, protein, lipids, nucleic acids, protein, lipids, nucleic acids, vitamins, minerals, and water. Is one more that I'm missing because it's protein, it's lipids, carbohydrates. Protein, lipids, carbohydrates, nucleic acids, vitamins, minerals, and water. Those are the 7 things your body needs on the basics. On the basis, they promote protein for us all day long, right? They tell us nothing about nucleic acids, right? They talk all the time about carbs and they don't want us to deal with fats. So much so that they stigmatize fat and tied fat to being a person rather than telling you that fat meant lipids, and lipids are necessary for your body, but you don't get the right lipids that your body is supposed to use. Why? Because when you get the right lipids, your body can release and regulate the proper hormones. So what do they give you? Trans fats, which are artificial, which are largely found in like potato chips and shit. Or you get your lards and shit like that, or all of your food has to be fried or cooked in the oil. Nobody really digests the oil directly. Our ancestors used to, the elders used to. My parents, my mom, and my dad both have memories of my grandmothers giving them a tablespoon of castor oil, but they only did it once a month. So where's the disconnect to where you knew that, okay, there's a reason why I need this oil in my body. For them, it was like, oh, you take the castor oil once a month so you can be regular, so you eat 29 days and you're only going to take this on the 30th just so you can have that bowel movement one time and this shit like, no, you got to do this every day. Oh, wait a minute. What is our food looking like then? Think about everything you eat. Every dietary regimen, every meal, everything you have does not have any lipids in it. It's strategically done that way. You'll get your protein, you get your carbs, you get your starches, you get, well, your protein, you get your carbs, you get your nucleic acids. The reason why you're going to get your nucleic acids because nucleotides are in everything. Nucleotides make up the DNA structure. The DNA and the RNA are both nucleic acids, right? You get your nucleic acid by eating the DNA of whatever it is you're eating, whether it be animal, a plant, or whatever the case may be. You're taking in the DNA and their nucleotides so your body can assimilate the nucleotides when the protein needs to be made. You feel what I'm saying? It's not hard. But again, they promote protein, they promote carbohydrates, nucleic acids, they don't even talk about, but they're in that. And they tell you to avoid fat. Non-fat food, low-fat milk, low-fat, like everything is to remove the fat. The reason why is because when I remove the fat, now your hormones are irregular. When your hormones are irregular, you're emotionally unstable. And when you're emotionally unstable, the world runs off the United States runs off the emotions and the mental health of people. Why does the stock market run off psychology? Because they can control how motherfuckers feel. You feel what I'm saying? All because now I can control how you utilize your hormones and how your body utilize its hormones. Because I don't put any lipids in your body. There's no lipids in your food guide, in your dietary structure. I get it. Well, when I eat food, it's greasy and it's all of this, and those are the lipids your body cannot benefit from. Those are the lipids your body cannot benefit from. And those lipids also, too, when you're eating those foods that are greasy and all of this shit, notice that you have to eat them hot. These same foods that are greasy, the burgers and shit like that, if you left the grease at room temperature, what does it do? Now, granted, your body is 98.6 degrees. Room temperature on average is anywhere between 75 to 80, 72 to 80, somewhere around there, depending on how you feel. You feel what I'm saying? What do you think happens when these liquids and shit now they solidify and shit at room temperature? Now what happens when you have to heat the grease or the liquid or the oil up above 98.6 degrees? That lard that our people, our great grandmas and them was cooking in, shouldn't have been cooking in. That shit is solid at room temperature. That shit is solid at room temperature. So when you ingest it, what is it going to do in the 98.6 degree body? When it has to be heated up to 212 degrees in order to melt, it's going to clog your fucking arteries. Now, when you're eating food that when the fat gets cooked off, it's solid. If you ever ate a steak and you had a little fatty piece on the side of the steak, that's a solid piece of fat. You're about to eat a solid piece of fat. I get you could chew it, you could break it down, but that solid piece of fat is going to be solid in your fucking body. You feel what I'm saying? It ain't going to be no different. But because they told us what to eat, told us how to eat, and they conveniently left out the lipids, our bodies don't process things correctly. Lipids are so powerful. I know this is cornflakes, but lipids are so powerful because what lipids do is they lubricate your body. They teach us that, drink your water, hydrate yourself, right? This is why a lot of motherfuckers' livers don't work. A lot of us think it's just because it's the alcohol. No, it's because you're also not putting lipids in your body. What is the liver attached to? The gallbladder, right? This is going to be interesting when I bring it up. The liver is attached to the gallbladder. What is the function of the gallbladder? A lot of people don't know that. It's designed that way. You're not supposed to know. Hell, a lot of people don't even know the function of the liver. Oh, it processes food. I mean, it processes liquids. It helps with the alcohol and shit like that. But even deeper than that, because the liver absorbs water and liquids on one side. It also absorbs because the liver filters out liquids. The liquids that it filters out are water and lipids, right? Water and oils, two things that don't mix. This is why you have a gallbladder attached to your liver, because gallbladder emulsifies. The gallbladder is designed to emulsify shit. Now, if you know what emulsification is the process where liquid and water are merged. In regular conditions, you cannot mix oil and water, right? We know that. If you pour oil on top of water, it creates literally two distinct layers. However, within the gallbladder, there are chemicals and there are biochemical processes within the gallbladder that will convert and mix the oil and the water. Why is this important? Because water should not be running through our body alone. It should have the oils running through the body with it, but it can't do that while they're separate. It needs to bring them together. So now, when we consider the that it finally brings the liquid and the water together, now the liver runs back to the heart, right? So any liquid or any lipid, any fat, basically any oil and any water that wasn't emulsified, it now has to go to the heart separately. So there's a problem when our gallbladder cannot break the shit down because it becomes inactive. You ever seen a motherfucker need gallbladder surgery? That is a problem. Because if you need gallbladder surgery, they're removing something that is now defective, which means if the gallbladder is defective, it cannot emulsify the waters in the liquid, the waters in the oils. If your gallbladder cannot emulsify your waters into your oils, where do you think your oils are going to go? You're going to pee your water out. You feel me? But if the water is separate and it can't go out, I mean, if the oil is like, where does the oil stay? It accumulates in your body and becomes adipose tissue, which is fat. So when people get fat, you feel me? It's not because they're fat, it's because they're accumulating lipids and their body is not emulsifying them to process through the body correctly. You feel me? You following me? Like this is medical science, bro. Sis, if you're listening, this is medical science. This is the shit that has really fucked us up. So now, not only do they reduce the testosterone levels, now they don't even give us the lipids that increase the testosterone levels, or even allow our body to have the available nutrients to say, okay, I need to secrete testosterone because I don't have the oils. You feel what I'm saying? Like I don't have the necessary I don't have the necessary oil to create the secretion of the testosterone that I need when it comes through the glands. I just don't, right? But what happens is as the body, I know that I have to process the fat. So now when people say, oh, you get fat because your body can't break it down and stores it for later. No, you get fat because your body can't use that particular lipid. This is why you have fat around your heart. This is why you have fat around your adrenal glands. This is why the fatty deposits always end up around the heart and the glands. This is interesting to note because I know they talk about the blood-brain barrier or whatever the case may be, but the blood-brain barrier has to be able to allow lipids to pass through. It's liquid based, right? But only certain lipids. So the reason why I'm saying that is because if every gland in our body, prostate gland, you feel me, adrenal gland, the prostate glands, the adrenal glands, about the kidneys, what else? Pituitary gland, the hypothalamus. Um, we got a couple other glands. I'm drawing a blank on the names right now. If every gland in our body, at some point once we die, and these are things that are actually seen in cadavers, right? We looked at pituitary, we looked at actual glands, and every one of these glands that we can get to had fat around them. What do you think about the pineal gland? We look at the pineal gland as, oh, it's calcified for fluoride. Cool, but what if it's just not just calcified by fluoride, but it's also has a fat accumulation around it? Because if the fluoride can pass through the blood-brain barrier to calcify the motherfucker, you can bet your ass that you can put something in that something can bypass that level as well and put fat around the shit. So we're eating all these fried foods, we're eating all of the shit that we eating. It's storing in every one of our glands. Do you know why? Because our gallbladder doesn't function properly to emulsify the shit in order to make it the liquid it needs to be to pass and process through the body the right way. So when I tell people that me personally, I ingest every single day. I ingest a shot of oil every day. Since I've been doing it, motherfuckers have been telling me, yo, that's not, I don't know why you would do that. You're not supposed to eat oil like that. Who told you that? How do you know you're not supposed to eat oil like, well, because a motherfucker told you that. You feel me? So much so, this is why I actually brought this up, because I was talking to a woman one time and she was saying, yeah, the doctor said that your shit ain't supposed to float. I was like, what? What you mean? She said, yeah, there's something wrong if you take a shit and it's floating. Right? I was like, what you mean floating? Like, if it's floating in the water? She said, yeah, it's supposed to sink. I said, why? The doctor said it's supposed to sink, but why? She didn't have that answer. So as we started to peel back and analyze it, I was like, well, when you really think about it, then technically your shit's supposed to float. Because if you have oils in your body and the oils are in the shit and oil is deeper than water, right? Oil is has a different density in the water, then the shit's gonna float. You feel me? I didn't pay attention to that until I was like, yo, I've been taking these. My shit float. Damn it. My shit float. That means that there's nothing wrong with me. That means that My body is now holding oil, the same oil that makes it easy for me to have a regular bowel movement. I talk to people who always say, yeah, you're supposed to have a bowel movement at least one time a day. You're not. You're supposed to shit after every time you eat. Some motherfuckers ain't shitting for 3 days, but they're eating every single. Some motherfuckers don't shit for 3 days, but they eat 3 square meals a day. Where's the shit going? Pun intended. You feel me? And we wonder why as men we got big ass stomachs. Did you know the weight that we're gaining, the weight that accumulates in our stomach and shit like that, has nothing to do with the food or stubborn body fat, or it has everything to do with our liver not being able to process things correctly. The liver is not just designed to process. Um, the liver is not just designed to process alcohol. It is designed to process liquids. Hey, bro, for real though, at some point we gotta stop talking to women about masculinity and start talking to each other about it. And I mean really talk to each other. Not as enablers and co-signers, but as men trying to reach the pinnacle of our essence. And that's what the So Frail series does. So Frail 1 is the definition. So Frail 2 is the acknowledgement. And So Frail 3 is the resolution. If you rock with the So Frail conversations, I can guarantee you will rock with the So Frail series of books. So visit IamJustSaying.com right now so you can add the series to your library. I promise you will never look at masculinity the same again, and you're going to stop wasting your time arguing with women about it. This is a conversation that men need to have between men, and it's time we start having this conversation now. You feel me? The kidneys filter, the liver processes. But the kidneys is the first form of filtration. Then it goes finally, the last form of filtration, to the liver. If your liver's bad, your whole body's fucked up. Because the liver is the last. Imagine if you just look at a house, right? You have a screen, right? You have the screen, you have the vents, you have all of that shit. Then you have the final piece when the central air is on that sucks up the rest of the shit, right? That's the liver, right? If you have a fucked up filter that's supposed to filter the final piece of the air, what do you think is going to happen with the rest of the house? It's not going to be filtered, right? So what do you think is going to happen with the body if the final filter doesn't work? Because it's holding too much. So to get our livers back right, they teach us, take certain herbs, certain teas, and drink certain shit like that. The reason why teas are so impactful, and this is what a lot of people don't take out, teas have oil in them. When you cook a tea, the heat releases the oil and the water, and the oil creates a small film at the top. It's not a lot of oil, but this oil and this heat, when you drink it together, it moves through the body warmly. But at the same time, once it gets to the liver, it's allowed to separate both the oil and the water. Why? Because there's nutrients that are both water soluble and fat soluble. How many motherfuckers, right? How many of us are taking nutrients, taking vitamins, or whatever the case may be, and we're only taking water soluble vitamins? Do we even know the difference between the two? Or are we looking at the label and saying, oh, this has vitamin A, K, E, has everything that I need? But how many of these motherfuckers are fat soluble versus water soluble? You know why that's important? You know why that's important? Because if you're drinking water and you're taking them and you're only eating food, and your diet does not include a lipid, you're going to lose any water, any fat soluble vitamin that is supposed to be in your body. That is powerful when you really consider it. How much of us think we're taking one a days or whatever, getting everything that we need, and we're not getting, and we don't ingest fats? Think about it. We have low fat diet. Everything is low fat. Oh, I don't want to eat this because it's going to make me fat. I don't want to eat this. No, it's not going to make you fat. It's going to provide the fats that your body needs to secrete the. When women, and this is one of the most fucked up realities. This is So Frail conversations, but this plays into it. When women can't figure out, right, they're simultaneously telling women, don't gain weight, right? So women's focus, I don't want to be fat, right? So they watch what they eat, they watch everything and shit, but they don't tell women the importance of making sure you have everything in your body. So when your cycle comes on and you're releasing blood, you're not just releasing iron and calcium, ma'am. You're releasing vital life energy from your body. Everything is coming out of that shit. You feel what I'm saying? But most women because they give you, oh, take your prenatal vitamins and all of this other shit and all of that. They're giving you all of these vitamins and you're only getting water soluble shit. Most motherfuckers would tell you, oh, you got to drink a gallon of water a day. You got to drink. How much oil are you supposed to put into your body a day? How many do you know? How many know that? None. Because they don't understand the importance of it. Because they realize that the importance of it is about, I don't want to be fat. No. So when I tell you not to be fat, and I tell you that lipids are fats, you don't want to eat lipids. It's that easy. I create this education system to determine how you're going to think and how I want you to think, right? Then I'm going to give you the nutrition of what you're supposed to eat and tell you how you're supposed to eat it. I'm going to give you the words, the language, and everything. So when I tell you, don't eat fats, have a low fat diet when you're supposed to actually have a high lipid diet. Scene. Yes. These low fat yogurts, all of these things are designed to make sure your hormones do not regulate. Anything that is low fat automatically translates to low lipid. If it translates to low lipid, that means it's not enough lipids to serve the purpose it's supposed to serve in your body. Your body, you hear high cholesterol, HDL, LDL, all of that shit. It's all crazy shit, but it's all predicated upon the fact that your glands, in order to secrete hormones, need cholesterol. Cholesterol comes from fat. Oh, your cholesterol levels are so good. Now you have HDL, high density lipoprotein, low density lipoprotein. Lipo, keyword, lipo, lipid, lipo, fat. Liposuction, they sucking the fat out of your body when your body needs the fat. And all you have to do is stop eating enough for your body to process the fat and secrete your hormones correctly. But because you're not, your hormones are completely out of whack solely because of the lipids. So, like I said, good high density lipoprotein, low density lipoprotein. The reason why HDL is good and LDL is bad is simply in the name. Now, when you don't know the etymology or the words of high density lipoprotein, it seems like, oh, what the fuck does that mean? Density is established off water. High density, right? High density means that it floats in relation to water. Low density means that it sinks in relation to water. Right? If the density is lower than water, it will sink. If the density is higher than water, it will float. Right? The lipoprotein means that you have a lipid and a protein put together, a fat and a protein put together. High density lipoprotein are the fats, the protein, the fat content, the fat proteins that float in water. This is important because the reason why HDL is good is because it flows better through your bloodstream. Because now, what is the bloodstream made of? It's not just water, it's lipids, it's every liquid that we ingest within our bodies. That creates the blood. Has erythrocytes, thrombocytes. It has different things in the actual makeup, but the lipoprotein is important because the core, the liquids running through your body, has protein and it has lipids in it. Now you need the lipo part because you need lipids available for proteins to attach to move through the body. So when it's time to create the protein necessary to do certain functions, now the protein removes itself from the lipid and attaches. The protein removes itself from the lipid, gets broken down to the nucleotide in the ribosome, and it's able to move. They do this process in the endoplasmic reticulum. Smooth, the rough ER is where the proteins go. Smooth ER is where the lipids go. I don't make the rules. I just report the information. The endoplasmic reticulum has two parts to it: rough ER and smooth ER. Rough ER is where the proteins go to get the nucleotides broken down. Smooth ER is where the lipids go. Because they're supposed to go together. So now, when they go together, they have to funnel through the glands. When they funnel through the glands, it's time to secrete the testosterone, the right hormone, right? But it needs cholesterols to do that, right? And in order to get the right cholesterol, what does it need? It's not hard. It's not hard at all. So when they tell us to have a low-fat diet means, translates to, you're going to have fucked up hormones. We wonder why our women are emotional. We wonder why we emotional. And we can't figure out the emotions, but the emotions that we are, because the world allows us to succumb to these: anger, rage, and aggression. There's a plethora of emotions that we feel on a regular basis, but because of the way in which we're allowed to express them, it's anger, rage, and aggression. Crazy. But it derives from a motherfucker deciding, yo, we're gonna make these motherfuckers eat cornflakes. And only not only in making them eat cornflakes, we're going to remove fat from the diet. We be thinking fat is bad. No, being fat is bad, but consuming fat is not bad if you're consuming the right fat. This is why in the Hitting It Raw book, even in the Hitting It Raw program, I go over how when you're using lipids, they need to be all liquid. Off rip. Off rip. And I'm not just talking about cooking, you know, but I mean, if you're ingesting them, if you're going to fry your food and whatever the case may be, the lipid is already broken anyway. Because this is why it's important. This is why I talk about making sure you have food grade oils and that they're at room temperature. They're liquid at room temperature, right? They're unsaturated. You have different types of fats: saturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, and everything like that. The more saturated the fat, the more solid it is. So you want to fuck with unsaturated shit because it's all liquid. I mentioned this in the testosterone level, but when it is liquid, it moves through your body correctly. When you fry foods or you cook food, and I get it, use avocado oil, use things that have a high heat. It don't fucking matter because depending on the heat, if you cook it high enough, it will denature the shit. If you denature the lipids, that means the heat separates the integrity of what that lipid can do. Now, when that lipid cools back down, it is an entirely different component. Even if you think you're being healthy by cooking or frying your food in vegetable oil, it is no longer vegetable oil once that food cools down and you eat it. Because the composition of what the vegetable oil was, it's been denatured once the heat got too high. It is no longer that same lipid anymore. So what happens when that lipid enters your body? It's going to program itself, or it's going to respond to how that lipid has now been transformed. And that's what it's going to take in. When we look at certain chemical structures, right, there's certain things in our body. We have L forms and D forms of drugs, or L forms and D forms of the shit that's supposed to be in our body. Again, I'm a little rusty, and this is off the head. I want to say the D form is the form that doesn't work. The L form is the form that will work naturally within our bodies. However, most of the shit that we consume is the D form. When it heats up, it transitions from the L form to the D form once that heat makes it change. It's a whole different molecule at that point. So that means it's going to do something different within our bodies. You feel what I'm saying? So this is why it's imperative that when we ingest our oils every day. Not only for just the hormone side, but to keep the hormone side, but to keep your body lubricated. We focus so much on hydration, but not much on lubrication. Motherfuckers be like, and this is something I had to learn. As a motherfucker with oily skin, I don't have oily skin. Ain't that a bitch? They taught me that I had oily skin because this is the way my body responds to the conditions that it's in. I don't have fucking oily skin. You feel me? I don't. I never realized that I don't have oily skin. I have skin that has I have skin that ultimately has to produce more oil because whenever I take a shower, dry off, or whatever the case may be, my body dries out. If my body's drying out too fast, it's not because I'm not hydrated, it's because I'm not lubricated. Why am I not lubricated? Because I don't have any lipids in my body. You feel what I'm saying? So in addition to it helping with your hormones and regulating, it lubricates your body. This is why you end up having a bowel movement more, the more oils, the more liquid oils and unsaturated oils you eat. Because what happens is you're now in your intestine and your colon is lubricated. The reason why you get constipated, the reason why it's compacted is because there's only hydration there and there's no lubrication. Hydration evaporates with heat, lubrication doesn't. You feel what I'm saying? So now, when you have to shit, the oil lines the intestine. You feel what I'm saying? It lines the intestine. The intestine has a layer around it called the phospholipid bilayer. Phospholipid bilayer. Your cells, not just the skin, like your cells have a bilayer around that. It's phosphorus and lipid. It's attachment to a phosphorus molecule and a lipid molecule, right? And it creates a bilayer that helps keep shit out and filter the right shit in. If you do not have lipids in your body, how in the fuck can your cells create a phospholipid bilayer? Where are they pulling the lipid part from? Saying, I thought you was talking about cornflakes. I am, because all of this goes hand in hand. Because now, if the testosterone levels are being reduced from the cornflakes, and we know that the testosterone is released from the prostate gland. So we know that the lipids or whatever that are going to the prostate gland, they're not doing what they're supposed to do when they get to the gland. You dig what I'm saying? And now we constipated, now all of this other shit. So like I was saying, with the constipation, with the oversized stomach and shit like that, all that comes from not consuming the right lipids and eating everything else. You constipated and you're not shitting right because your body is not lubricated. That's it. But that is enough to create and predicate every fucking disease in this world. Every fucking disease that we got to succumb to, and every fucking disease that fucks us up, even the reduction of our testosterone, is because we do not have the right lipids in our body. Which is wild as fuck when you really think about it, because it's like, why don't they tell us? Why fucking would they? Think about that. What do they stand to gain giving you the truth? Nothing. You fuck up their pockets. You fuck up their pockets. You feel what I'm saying? This is a cold game, and it started with the cornflakes, and now it's up here. Now, I like how this episode went, because it's like, yo, this is why we got low testosterone levels. We not eating lipids. Now everybody like, I want to be lean. Let me get my abs and shit like that. It's motherfuckers right now not realize that you'll get better abs if you ate fat. They got you eating protein, right? Now, we've already broken down that cholesterol is divided up. Cholesterol is divided up into a lipoprotein molecule. It's supposed to be a fat and a protein bound together. They don't teach you to ingest fat and protein together. They teach you to increase your protein and have a low fat diet. Nigga, how? How does that work? When your body naturally tells you chemically that we supposed to have lipids and proteins together. They teach you not to put it together. They teach you not to even have fat in your body. Low carb this, low fat this, like all of these things that they are fucking with you with, they're fucking with you with. And it's all because we don't understand to get the lipids in our body. So in the testosterone level, I mentioned it just so you don't have to go all the way back and listen to that again. I'm gonna bring it back here. The oils that I personally take, I'm gonna give you the whole recipe that I use. I use grapeseed oil, I use hemp seed oil, and I use pumpkin seed oil. These are all food grade oils. I make sure they are food grade oils. If they are cosmetic grade, don't even put them in your body. Cosmetic grade is a contradiction, because if say you can put it on your skin, but you can't eat it. Well, duh. No, there is no duh. How can I put it on my skin, but I can't eat it? And my skin absorbs shit. When I tell people the purpose of, when we look at embryology, right? The entire baby is formed from 3 derm layers. They call it derm layers, so you don't know what it is. You have the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm. The outer skin, the middle skin, and the inner skin. Derm means skin. It means skin. So when a baby, a human, is created from the ectoderm, mesoderm, and the endoderm, those are the 3 layers that create the body. Some of the, I want to say the mesoderm is responsible for your muscles and your bones. The exoderm is responsible for your skin. The mesoderm is responsible for your muscles. The ectoderm is responsible for your skin, and the endoderm is responsible for your bones. So if I remember it correctly, it has the endoderm is responsible for your nervous system and your bones. The muscles, the blood vessels, and the arteries and veins is your mesoderm, and your ectoderm is the outside shit, your skin, your hair, and all of that shit. You feel what I'm saying? That's your skin. All of that creates your skin, your teeth. All of this shit comes from a skin layer, but they don't teach us the importance of our skin. And then they got the nerve to say that we all the same. If I got different outer skin, my ecto skin is different. That means my meso skin and my endo skin is different too. We're not the same. We're not the same. So we need to stop treating ourselves like we are the same and really acknowledge what the fuck is happening to us. You dig what I'm saying? So when we look at ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm as the 3 germ layers, the 3 skin layers that develop into a being, how in the fuck can you tell me that if I I can put something on the outside of my body that I can't eat. This is back to that trust science that have never been done shit. They tell you shit so you can hear it, but you can't listen to it because you don't understand it. When you understand it, it don't make motherfucking sense. You dig what I'm saying? So you mean to tell me I could put this lotion on my skin, but I can't eat it? No. This is a funny story, and I hate that I'm admitting it now, but I'll admit it. When I was a kid, I was like 7. My brother had dared my cousin. Him and my cousin were the same age. He had dared my cousin to lick, because right guard used to have the gel that you twist up and the gel comes out. That was the deodorant my brother used. Antiperspirant. I'm gonna talk about that. I might talk about that too, but he bet my cousin. He said, "Yo, he said I dare you to lick it." He had twisted the fucking right guard shit up and said, "I dare you to lick this much off the top." And my cousin was like, "Ah," and me watching it because I'm the baby brother. I'm young. I'm like 7 at the time. They're teenagers, so I'm just like watching and be scared of it. I said, "Don't be scared. I do it," and I licked the whole motherfucking right guard off the top of the shit. Ah, the reason why I said that is because I licked the motherfucker and I was about to swallow. My brother said, "No, don't swallow it, spit it out. You can't eat that." Hmm. I can't eat that, but you can put it under your arms. Did we know that shit as kids? Fuck no, I didn't know that your body still absorbs the fucking deodorant. I can't eat it by mouth, but I can put it on my skin. Where does that make sense at? It makes sense when you can't listen to what's being said, when you can only hear. You feel what I'm saying? The reason why I'm saying that is because with the food grade oils, with the cosmetic grade oils, you're not supposed to eat them. Therefore, they shouldn't even be on your skin. We got a whole cosmetic aisle, specifically largely for our women, but even for us too, that it says you can't eat this shit, but you can put it on your skin. Just don't eat it. What? That means it's gonna come into my skin. When it comes into my skin, it's gonna hit my bloodstream. When it hit my bloodstream, it's going. You didn't have to chew the shit. It's still in your motherfucking body. It's still in your body because they're not gonna tell you that the skin. Your entire. You ever heard the phrase where they say your skin is the largest organ of your body? And we think it's because we're tall and it covers our. No, it's the largest organ in your body because it's the only organ in your body because it makes up all the other organs. Your liver, your kidneys, your heart, your lungs, everything is derived from a skin layer, whether it be ectoderm, endoderm, or mesoderm. It just differentiates into different things. So I'm saying that, now taking it back, the 3 oils that I use grapeseed oil, I use hemp seed oil, and I use pumpkin seed oil, all food grade oils. All food grade oils. I never use anything cosmetic grade when it comes to the lipids because you can't use it. If you can't digest it, you can't. Even when I make my beard oils, like I had to, if I can't eat it, I don't go to get the cosmetic shit from the store. No, I make my own beard oils, or I look at who makes oils already and follows the rules. If I can look at the ingredients and see, oh, this is just oil put together, and these are oils that I use, I fucks with it. But then I gotta find out, is this cosmetic grade or is this food grade? If it's cosmetic grade, I can't fuck with it because that's when my skin breaks out. That's when I have the internal issues on the inside because my body is already rejecting it. It ain't supposed to be here. You feel me? So when you get the food grade shit, like I said, I use grapeseed oil. I'm gonna really break down my recipe. I get grapeseed oil, I get hemp seed oil, and I get pumpkin seed oil. Right? I mix it. I use 1 cup, 1 liquid cup of grapeseed oil mixed with half a cup of hemp seed oil and half a cup of pumpkin seed oil. Right? That's my ratio. Right? I use 1 full cup of the grapeseed oil, and then I use half a cup of the hemp seed and the pumpkin seed oil. The reason why, grapeseed oil is the base. Grapeseed oil is good for antioxidants within the whole body. Grapeseed oil has vitamin E and high levels of vitamin E to heal and keep things realigned within the body. I used to be a smoker, and so as a smoker, my lungs, I'm still trying to repair these motherfuckers. I smoked for 5 years. So, but these oils are helping my lungs because now that layer, I'm gonna explain how that works in a second. So the grapeseed oil, let me explain what they're used for. So the grapeseed oil has the vitamin E in it, and the grapes as well, the grapeseed as well. So that has high antioxidant levels because grapes are purple. Grapeseed oil is largely come from the purple when it has a lot more absorption from the sun. So it has a lot more antioxidant properties, has the vitamin E in it for the healing, and it tastes good. I know it's like, how does oil taste good? The pumpkin seed oil, that is solely for prostate health. That is solely for prostate health, and it is it is to regulate your testosterone levels. Because when I started to study, male pattern baldness, it really is not a pattern. The pattern that it is because the alopecia, whatever, develops because DHT blocks your follicle. DHT is dihydrotestosterone. Hmm. So it's basically a testosterone molecule that has two hydrogens bound to it. How do you end up with two hydrogens bound to it if the water that you take in, when it dissociates from the oxygen is released as now a free radical that is moving through your body, fucking shit up. These two hydrogens bind to your testosterone and they hit your follicle. And when they hit your follicle, the nutrients cannot reach it. It blocks the growth because it does not allow the nutrients to reach to create the necessary thing for the keratin to create the hair within the follicle, right? Now, like I said, with the antioxidants that grapeseed oil has, this dihydrotestosterone, now I can regulate that. But these free oxygens that are just running around, now I'm using this grapeseed oil to find them, bind them, and get them the fuck out of my body. Because clearly they running free. With reduced testosterone levels, we got hydrogen just bonding to testosterone freely, and it ain't supposed to. That's where you get dihydrotestosterone. You feel what I'm saying? So I use the pumpkin seed oil for that, and it helps with the prostate health. You feel me? I know they teach us to use saw palmetto and shit like that, but it's deeper than that because sometimes you got to know the cause in order to treat. You can't just focus on the effect when you're treating the problem. You have to realize what the cause was. When you know the cause, it changes the reasoning for the effect, which changes the approach on how you got to go through it. You feel what I'm saying? Saw and palmetto is for weak prostates and to strengthen prostates or whatever the case may be. But you know that the the prostate damage is caused by something that is designed to reduce testosterone. You now have to just go the opposite way and put something in the body that increases testosterone. Saw palmetto doesn't increase testosterone, it maintains what's there. As a herb, that's what it does. So when you see people, oh, I take my saw palmetto pills to retain what you got left. That's it. That's it. They're not going to tell you the way to elevate it back up. They're going to tell you how to maintain it. Just what you got left. If I got $100 left in the bank, so it's $100 left in the bank, saw palmetto make sure that I don't lose $100. I never go below $100. That's what I have left, and that's what I'm gonna keep. Right. However, when you use the pumpkin seed oil, now you can also eat pumpkin seeds, but the oil is a lot more potent. The reason why is because whenever you eat, you automatically lose it by a third. Right now, if your digestion isn't right, and if you're not in the space where when you eat the pumpkin seeds, it can actually break down and digest in your body to assimilate correctly. And then the pumpkin seeds, the oil concentration in the actual seed is less than taking the actual oil, right? So now when you put the pumpkin seed oil into your prostate, now it starts to increase your testosterone levels. Why? Because it's now acting as the cholesterol is supposed to, as the oil that is now triggering for the testosterone to be released. You feel what I'm saying? Which is now going to strengthen the prostate, which is now going to reduce the levels of all of the other shit that prostate damage, causes and all of that shit. Right. And then lastly, I use hemp seed oil. Hemp seed oil has omegas 3, 6, and 9s. These are all important oils for the heart. You'll go to get some fish oil and it only has omega 3s in it. And they'll tell you, oh, you need omega 3s in it. You need omegas 3s, 6s, and 9s. They're all good for the heart. Another oil that's good that has all three of those is black seed cumin oil. That works too, but that is a little bit more potent. I don't use that too often because I'm not sick. I feel like black seed cumin oil is for if you're sick. I let the people who are sick use that. I have proper maintenance at this point. So I mix all of those and I take a shot a day. I don't take a tablespoon. I take a shot, like a whole shot glass, right? And I mix it with my herbs that I have. That's a whole different conversation. But I take a shot a day of this oil, right? From a caloric standpoint, right? Most every oil has about 130 calories in it. 130 calories in it, right? Here's why that's important. Because when we understand caloric intake and we connect it with food and like the dietary plan, they say, oh, a 2,000 calorie diet a day or whatever the case may be, 2,000 calories divided that by 10 is going to put you at about 200 pounds, right? So if you're eating 2,000 calories a day, you're going to be at about 200 pounds, right? Oils have high caloric intakes. So less is really more. You feel what I'm saying? But this is why they put trans fats in the food, like potato chips and shit you don't even see. You ever wonder, like, if you look at a bag of chips, the caloric intake is like 450? And this is a small bag. This ain't even a big bag that we gorge on and we eat the whole thing of. This is a small bag that's 450, right? Divide that by 10. That bag of chips has enough power to sustain 45 pounds of you. If we looked at it like that, things change. That has enough caloric intake to sustain 45 pounds of you. Feel me? So when I take my shot, it's usually the shot that I take is roughly about 2 tablespoons. So if it's 130 calories per tablespoon, right? I'm getting 260 calories just from one shot of oil. You feel where I'm going with this? I'm getting 260 calories, right? That is 20. That 260 calories alone operates for 26 pounds of my body. You feel me? When you put it in perspective like that, it makes things change. But within this oil, now it's circulating through my body. So now we're taking it back to cholesterol, high density, low density, right? These are all low density. I mean, high density, but anything that's low density that is stuck around the plaque, they call it plaques or whatever the case may be, anything that's stuck around the plaques of my body, what's going to happen is because likes dissolve likes, the high density, the liquid lipid is going to start to erode the solid lipids away. You dig what I'm saying? It's going to start to erode them away. And in the erosion, that's when your arteries get unplugged. You don't need heart stents. You don't need all these things. People that need stents and shit because their hearts are so fat and overworked that they don't know how to reduce the fat around their heart. You reduce the fat around your heart by consuming liquid fats. Likes have to dissolve likes. You cannot use whatever they trying to get you to, you can't use it. You have to use what caused it to get it out. You feel me? If I know I'm eating lard Crisco, now I'm just going to take the lipids. It's going to take some time to erode it. Motherfuckers, y'all been eating this shit for 10, 20 years. You're not going to put this shit in a year and think it's going to change. It don't clean. Like, you can't clean the house that fast. But you got to start cleaning the motherfucking house. Because what happens is when all of this stuff starts to just sit somewhere, imagine all of these fatty deposits, they're sitting around hearts, they're sitting around livers, they're sitting around kidneys, they're sitting around intestines, they're sitting around so many different things, which means that these individual fats aren't going to the right places, which means all of the hormones are going to be off. Why are we so emotional? Now we wonder why the fuck we emotional. We got periods too. We got emotions and we got cycles, but we have fucked up testosterone and we don't have the proper hormone levels to really engage the way we're supposed to. So we don't. We don't. And our bodies are completely being being destroyed. And now we don't have the testosterone levels to maintain healthy masculinity. The 1900s, the beginning of the 1900s was a very powerful time. History repeats itself because motherfuckers can't understand the history. History repeats itself because the shit is fucking systemic. It's a cycle of cycles, right? History is going to repeat itself over the next 100 years because they already have this system in place. If you find out about it, they're not going to stop you. They don't care. But then when you start to see, I can't be a part of this shit. This is why y'all want me to eat this shit. Look at the food guide pyramid, yo. Look at the food guide pyramid. Matter of fact, let me pull it up and double check because I think the food guide pyramid has sparing that you know what I'm saying, you sparingly eat fruits or, you know what I'm saying, or you sparingly eat oils or some shit, some crazy shit like that. Let me see. They probably even changed the shit now. Yeah, food guide pyramid. The very top. The apex of the fucking pyramid. Now, when you understand what an apex is, you know that it's the top. The very top of the pyramid, they have the oils. And that's where they say fats, oils, and sweets. Use sparingly. Fats and oils, I get the fats and oils, right? But then you add the sweets in there too, right? Fats, oils, and sweets consume sparingly, right? The fats and oils, especially the fats, you're supposed to be consuming those abundantly. The sweets, sparingly. But we fuck it up and we consume a lot more sweets than anything, right? So fuck that part. But let's look at the consume fats and oils sparingly, but yet everything else you consume by serving sizes in abundance. But it's consuming the fats and oils that's gonna make all of the other shit flush out of your body the right way. You can drink water all day fucking long, but you just hydrate your body. You know, sisters put me onto this shit. You feel me? I used to just like I have a whole actual regimen for my beer now because a woman taught me. Before I would just like get out the shower, put some oil on the shit. And then she'd be like, your beard dry. No, it's not. I put oil on the shit. It's dry. Did you hydrate it? Huh? You lubricated it, but did you hydrate it? What? I put oil on the shit. Oh, so I'm supposed to dampen it with the water and then and then it made sense because oil sits above water. So when I put water on my beard, then I put the oil over the motherfucker. Now, oh, it's moisturized. Moisturization is just when you hydrate and you lubricate together. Oh, I get you. How many of our bodies aren't moisturized? Tying it back to the point that I mentioned about having oily skin, when I said I really didn't have oily skin, I just had a body that responded to dry skin. It's like, bro, you ashy, bro. Let me figure out a way. Let me now over secrete the sebum, which is the skin oil. Let me over secrete that to regulate the body. So what I would do is get out the shower, dry off, and then put a layer of lotion on. But the under part of my skin is like, yo, we dry under here, bro. So now the oil comes up and now the oil pushes through my skin and now I get breakouts. I get all this other shit because my skin is not oily, but it's overly dried. And it's making my body respond by overcompensating and putting out too much oil. You dig what I'm saying? We need lipids in our body. Now, if our lipids were regulated the way they're supposed to be, we wouldn't be ashy, low key. You feel me? Because half of the battle, like now, with me being as regulated as I am, I only use like about 2 or 3 drops of oil on my skin. That's it. I don't even put oil on my body. Like I don't even put oil on my body, my legs, or anything. And I'm not ashy. I don't be ashy. Motherfuckers be like, "Yo, what kind?" I don't. You feel me? I don't. I don't use the body butters. I don't use all that shit because I've learned that it's not the external side that I gotta put. It's if you fix the inside, the external shit is gonna start working. Now, this is why I wrote hitting it raw, because when you get to the nutrition side and you know the depths of it, lipids are so important. You should not be dealing with a low fat diet. You should be dealing with a high fat diet, but high fat in the sense of um, it's high fat in the sense of unsaturated fats and oils, so your body can regulate and start to move things out of your body. You feel me? That's really the biggest problem. Motherfuckers is sick right now, and they're drinking all of their water. Like motherfuckers, I'm drinking all of the water. I'm doing this, and I still can't lose weight. You're not putting any lipids in your body. I promise you, your body works so fast. The first 2 days, if you start getting on that regimen of putting in lipids in your body, you'll start shitting more. It'll fuck with you. It'll fuck with you. Not only will you shit more, when you shit, you'll feel empty. You'll be like, I'm really done. I'm not sitting here a little bit longer seeing if there's any more that got to come out. And I've been, some motherfuckers get up off the toilet solely because they've been there too long, not because they're actually done. And they'll never be done because of the way in which it's supposed to move through their body. Once you start putting lipids in your body and shit, and you start having a bowel movement regularly, and you start to see, oh, damn, I am supposed to shit after every time I eat. Damn it. Damn. Not immediately every time, but it's like, yeah, you'll feel it. Let me get this shit out because now your body starts to move. You don't have to worry about. And then, so now what they teach us and what fucks us up as men is that rather than losing our stomach, just do a bunch of sit ups. You're not losing your stomach. All you doing is strengthening your stomach underneath all of the fat. The fat is sitting on your muscle. You're not getting rid of that shit. You can't burn fat. Like that was the biggest mind fuck that I had to come to terms with. You don't burn fat. You can't. Because the fat is obviously not able to be used. That's why it's stored. Wow. Your body stored it because it could not use it. Now, when we consider metabolism, which is broken down into anabolism and catabolism is the buildup, but catabolism is the breakdown. Your body has to be able to break down the lipids. This is why in your mouth, when you start chewing, you have lipases, amylases, proteases, and nucleases. These are the enzymes that break shit down. Lipases break down lipids, they break down fats. Which is why when we eat, we're only supposed to eat one thing at a time or eat things that combine properly. All of this is in the Hitting the Raw program and shit like that. But and the Hitting the Raw book. But if you're not eating it and it's not combining properly, your body's not going to secrete the right enzyme. And then when it takes it down, so now, if let's say, for example, protein and starch does not go together, right? But protein is broke down by the enzyme protease and the The starch is broken down by the enzyme amylase. When your tongue registers that I have both a protein and a starch, it's going to go with what it registers first. So if it registers that protein first, it's going to secrete the protease enzyme, and it's not going to secrete the amylase enzyme because these two things conflict. So now when it goes into your stomach, there is no amylase enzyme to break down the sugar. So now when it goes into your body, this is why it's now filters down. And when it goes into your pancreas, it doesn't go into the pancreas as the regular sugar that has been broken down. It goes into it the full complex carbohydrate that wasn't broken down. And when it's not broken down, now it over stimulates your pancreas. Now that shit shuts down, and now you get diabetes. So when we eat, we're supposed to be eating one thing at a time. How do we eat? We take our fork, we bounce around all things, and then we eat it at once. Your body has just went through a shock treatment right there. Thanksgiving, what we gonna get? Collard greens, macaroni, cheese, yams, all that shit. Our fork is going to touch multiple things at one time, or it's gonna touch one thing, boom, we're gonna start chewing it, start focusing on another thing, swallow that, eat that. Our body is going through multiple shock treatments at a time. When you eat, you're supposed to eat one particular thing to give your body the freedom to enjoy that thing with just that enzyme, and now your body is moving it through the whole process. How do we get to fruit and all of the shit? Because now when we look at the fruit, the way the food has to be eaten in your body, the lipases, your lipase enzymes are not going to be secreted if you do not have any oils. Now, if we're constantly eating low fat diets and shit like that, how are we ever breaking down fat? How is our body ever secreting lipases? So now you wonder, why does the fat get stored? Because there's no lipase in your mouth that helps break down the fat, that moves it down through the rest of the body. So if that is the case, now when we're not secreting the lipases, when all of the lipids and shit go into our body, they just come in and go out. They're not broken down because there's no lipase enzyme. Why? Because we keep eating low fat diets that doesn't allow the lipase enzyme to be secreted. And this all ties in because now when we look at the Kellogg guy, he creates cornflakes. Cornflakes don't have any fat in them. Cornflakes are considered a low-fat food. Most cereals are considered low-fat and healthy. What is the brand? What is the slogan for Cheerios? General Mills. But what is the slogan for Cheerios? Be happy, be healthy. That's one of their slogans. But the other one is it can help reduce cholesterol. What is cholesterol? Why are they so big on reducing cholesterol? They got you thinking it's about your heart. Reducing the cholesterol is so that your body cannot secrete or produce the necessary hormones, because hormones are a response to cholesterol in our bodies. We reduce the cholesterol. Then we reduce the amount of lipids that are in your body. We reduce the amount of lipids in your body. We affect the way in which your glands and shit can secrete the necessary hormone. And then once we control the way your glands secrete the hormone, we control the testosterone. And we can control the testosterone. We can make sure men aren't violent, men aren't overly aggressive, but men are not able to use their testosterone, to use their mind and their analysis and deconstructive faculties in order to break out of the cycles and the systems of the world. Instead, they'll stay in the systems of the world and be willing participants to the systems of the world. And the whole time they'll be focusing on not being fat. They'll be focusing on not being fat. Oh, let me hit the gym. Let me work out. Let me do all of these things. And it damages your motherfucking body because you're not putting the right shit in your body. So now your body is not lubricated. When our bodies aren't lubricated, they don't flow right. When anything is not lubricated, it doesn't flow right. So what does that mean for us? I'm not saying stop eating cereal. I am saying it, but I can't make y'all stop doing none of that shit. But I'm saying that this is what you're dealing with, you're gonna have to find a way to offset it to balance out. You feel me? You're gonna have to find a way to balance it out. Otherwise, you fall into the exact reality of what Dr. Kellogg wanted to fucking create. It was deeper than just not having, aggressive men. It was not having masculine men in the world. And they've been practicing this shit for the last 100 years. Motherfuckers don't even have the testosterone to think enough to solve their motherfucking problems. That's crazy. And don't forget to check out Polycafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch,
Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing?
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and edit there, yo. What more can I say? Nah, that's you feel me? That's testosterone. That's testosterone. This is corny. These are what corny dudes. This is what it is to be corny. This is what it is to be corny. They completely savaged, they completely ravished our realities and fucked us up on the inside. We're corny now, which affects our testosterone levels. You ever seen corny motherfuckers do sucker shit? Like, that's some corny shit. You didn't think that through. There was no, like, you feel me? Sucker shit. They created corny motherfuckers, bro. And they created corny motherfuckers by intentionally reducing their testosterone. And if they're intentionally reducing their testosterone, they're intentionally inducing the way sperm is supposed to work when it's time to be motile enough to even create. And population control started in the 1900s, got perfected with Margaret Sanger and shit, and now they're just waiting on the process to play itself out. They were hoping that people wouldn't come to terms with it and see what the fuck was going on. You feel me? But it is what it is. These are the reasons why, like, at the end of the day, when people ask me if I feel a type of way going, I don't. I don't feel any type of way not finishing med school. I don't feel any type of way about that because there's certain shit you got to stand on as a man. And if you know that this shit, being a part of this shit fucks with your people, I can't fuck with it. That's just me. I get it. Everybody else can be compromised in how they do. I'll figure out how to live life outside of that. But when I know what the fuck the system is about, like, this shit goes against God. Like, you feel me? Like, I can't even, like, that's what I got into a lot of my religious family with. I was like, yo, y'all literally preach to be in the world, not of the world. And here you got a motherfucker says, I am not about to be in this, I'm not about to be of this world no more. So that means y'all don't really believe y'all shit, bro. Like, it just don't. But even deeper than that, look at none of us have the capacity we have. Like, we don't, like, there's motherfuckers who are naturally built. Like, I was looking at, if you look at basketball in the early 60s and shit, 60s and 70s, it was like, yo, motherfuckers was 25 years old, but they was these. They was like, they looked like they was about 30, 40. Now we are in our 30s and we're still looking like we're in our early 20s. I get it, black don't crack, but that's not even just about the black. Look at the men as a whole. Motherfuckers is in their fucking 30s, but they look like they're in their 20s. They could pass for 20s. Think about Kid and Play. This shows, like, in the house party, you feel me? Full Force. They really had us believing that these niggas was in high school, bro. They weren't no motherfucking 17-year-olds. You feel me? There's a different level of testosterone in them that's not in us anymore. Which means when the puberty hits and we're supposed to hit our growth spurts, when we're supposed to get taller, we're supposed to get stronger, we're supposed to have deeper voices, it's gone. I look at my individual bloodline and I possibly could have been taller than I am. And it's like, but motherfucker, you already tall. I know I could have been taller. Very well could have been taller had I have known these things about testosterone and all this other shit and cereals and all of the shit. I ate cereal all the fucking time, sometimes 2 or 3 bowls. You feel what I'm saying? Most of the brands that I ate was from Kellogg. But it didn't matter what brand I ate. What it translated into at the end of the day was that it's all a part of the same shit. Cereal was so easy. Mama in the shower, we getting ready for school and shit. Boom, pour your cereal, blah, 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 eat. Bam. Raisin Bran, cornflakes, like all of these, like, I grew up on all of these cereals and shit. And a lot of us grew up on these cereals and we can't figure out why the fuck we are the way we are. This is the power of understanding biochemistry. I was never good in science. I don't want to learn biology. And they bank on that. They bank on that. Because now you can't challenge, you can't think enough. You can't think your way out of a paper bag. We got you forever. Temptations forever. They got you though. And it started with some fucking cornflakes, bruh. Can you believe that shit? This shit all started with fucking cornflakes, my guy. Cornflakes. All of the shit that I talked about in this fucking episode originates from some punk ass fucking cornflakes, dog. You see how much power is in absolutely nothing? Cornflakes have reduced the testosterone levels of men across the world. Cereal has, and we eat cereal willy nilly. You probably got a couple boxes of cereal sitting on your refrigerator right motherfucking now. I'm not saying throw your shit away. I just got to make you aware of the shit that you might not be aware of. Because it's one thing to pick an option, but it's another thing to make a choice. They took away our choice. We very well might have ate cornflakes. We very well might have still ate cereal to have we had known on information, but we didn't. We didn't know the motherfucking information, and they took our choice away from us. I'm just trying to give you your choice back because I know what choice I had to make. I had to like that's why I take these oils now. When I'm, you feel me? But I had already started taking the oils before the cornflake shit. I had already started taking the oils because I knew that my testosterone levels were low. I knew that they was purposely fucking us up, but now I know why. Now I know fucking why. It's amazing because, like I said, there's a whole rabbit hole of things because it's like all these vitamins that we're taking. What about the water, fat soluble vitamins? We can't absorb. You can't absorb a fat soluble vitamin if you don't have fat in your body. When the vitamin is there, just don't work. It don't. You got to figure out the best way to make your body function that way. You can restore your prostate. You can restore your testosterone levels. You can get your body back in order. But you're gonna need them oils. You're gonna need them oils. They're gonna be hard as shit to take at first because you're not used to it. But then when you start getting used to them and you realize, yo, how I thought I put people on to using pumpkin seed oil as a pre-workout, and they like, bruh, you feel what I'm saying? Look, this is how the farmers like I take away the problem and I give you something that you got to buy from me. You feel me? Pumpkin seed oil. When I buy mine, I think it's like $10 or some shit like that. But I get I get about 3 or 4 months out of the pumpkin seed oil that I buy. Right? How much? And that's $10. How much you got to pay for your pre-workout? You wouldn't need a pre-workout if your body was already secreting the hormone. Like people say, I don't feel like working out. They now when we go back into the episode on, I don't want a nation of thinkers. I need a nation of workers. Thinking is a balance. Using the mind is what thinking really is, and it's a balance between your emotions and your thoughts. If I am fucking up your fucking hormones, I am fucking up your emotions and your ability to feel. So when people say I don't feel like working out, because the motherfucker made you not want to work out. You don't have the right hormones in your body to give you the feeling to want to work out, to give you the feeling to do certain shit. You need that internal motivation. That's why you don't feel it, because you don't have the available nutrients to feel good. Ain't that a bitch? And this is because we are not putting lipids in our body. Now, I noticed in the episode, I probably should have said this at the beginning. Disclaimer, seek your healthcare physician, seek advice from your healthcare physician. Do not take anything that I say as fact, law, or whatever else disclaimers need to go in that shit. Get your advice from seek your healthcare professional, your professional's good information, whatever. Figure it out. I don't fucking know what to tell you. Don't just listen to me. Go study and learn this shit. But I recommend getting lipids back in your body. Your hormones will be in check. Your emotions will be cool. Your mind, when your emotions are cool, your thoughts are cool. You sleep better. You start to realize you feel yourself leaving out of sympathetic mode, fight or flight response. You dig what I'm saying? But now once you get these oils and your body's able to start to maneuver correctly, shit changes. Shit fucking changes, bro. Your body stops being as dry. You feel me? When it's time to lose, it's like, oh, I got the available shit. Now I'm not overproducing from what I don't have. I'm just giving what's necessary because it's all sitting right there in the body. You feel what I'm saying? It's different. But I'm gonna go ahead and there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And our sons, hey, look, it's up to you if you want to keep letting them eat cereal. But I will say this: pay attention to the cereals. If you want a motherfucker with low T, hmm, do your thing. If you don't, do your thing. Dead horses in water, I can't make it either way. But what I can say is this is a system and it is designed to work. So pay attention to what you're feeding your babies. And if still want them to eat the cereals or whatever, just make sure they're adding oil. Especially our boys, because this is so for a conversation. Pumpkin seed oil. Pumpkin seed oil. Make that a staple early. You can't give them a whole shot like I take or whatever. Dilute it and make it, give them enough. I think a kid could probably take like a half a teaspoon, half a tablespoon or something like that. But get them used to taking that shit and watch how they progress through life. Watch how that young man develops and watch what happens when he hits puberty. Watch what happens when he hits the milestones of you start to say, oh, you developed correctly. You develop correctly because now you have all of the nutrients, but keep all of the other nutrients in as well. You still need your protein, your lipids, your what, all of that shit is still regular. It's still necessary. You feel me? But make sure our sons have lipids in their body, specifically lipids that will help keep their testosterone in check. Pumpkin seed oil is one of the best ones. Hands down, I think it's the only oil that no, it's the only one that blocks DHT, which means that it affects how testosterone is manipulated and secreted in the body. If our body is secreting dihydrotestosterone and it's just supposed to be secreting the testosterone, that means something is happening within the body that needs correction. And it's our oils. Make sure our sons are taking the right oils and they're taking them correctly. All right. But I'm gonna go in there, like I said. Go kiss your babies, make sure they eat their vegetables, and I'm gonna see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.